So, automation. What is it? No, it is not a class that you take in high school where you learn about cars and learn how to fix cars. I'm talking about mix automation. It's probably a term that you've heard in other tutorials that you've watched about mixing, and it's actually nothing too crazy. It's not like learning EQ or compression. Those are, two effects that can take a long time to finally grasp on what they do. Automation is not an effect. It's a tool that you can use in your songs to allow you to adjust volume and panning and any effects that you've applied to say a guitar track. You can adjust those things over time. So let me demonstrate what automation is by letting you hear it as it pertains to panning, which is, for those of you that aren't familiar with what panning is, it's when an instrument comes out of the right speaker or the left speaker or a little bit out of the right speaker and mostly out of the left speaker. Panning is just which speaker the sound is coming from. Over time, you will notice that this reversed piano effect that I have it'll be panned down the center, meaning you'll hear it equally out of the left and right headphones, and then it'll do this quick swooshy thing where it goes back and forth. And that is automation. Automation is letting me change the panning over time. Hear that? So it started down the center. Pretty cool stuff. So let me show you what automation looks like and how to use this tool, where to find this tool and start using it so you can start adjusting volume and panning and things over time on your tracks. In most recording softwares, it's going to have a button somewhere on the name of your track. So here's my piano track, and you've got all these options, mute, solo, you can add effects, and at least in Reaper, it's located right here. It's called trim and track envelopes / automation. It's also called envelopes automation. They're the same thing. So in Reaper, you can click on this button and it opens up a lot of different options for what I can automate. I can have a volume automation track. I can have a panning automation track. You'll notice it has opened up two separate tracks here, volume and panning. They are the dark gray tracks underneath my main piano track. And then each of these has a separate, see this green line? This green line is completely straight, meaning the volume for my piano is consistent throughout the entire piano track. So if I wanted this verse to be quieter, at least in Reaper, I hold Shift and there's a couple ways to do this, but I'll show you this example. You can hold Shift and then click wherever you want to, and it creates a, they call it a moving point, but it's also called a keyframe. And so now that I've created these keyframes, I can click and drag this part, and these are kind of like little hinges. These dots that I created are little hinges, and it allows me to raise the volume at this part, or lower the volume, or lower it here and then fade it up here so it goes quieter and then it gets a lot louder. Look at the decibels. See, the decibels are going up, going up, going up, going up. And in fact, let's have the louder part get louder sooner. So again, this is time. If I want it to happen sooner, I just drag it closer to the left because the song progresses from left to right. So let's have it over here so it gets quiet really quickly and then it gets loud. Might actually get way loud. I don't know how loud this is going to be. You see that? Of course, I was making those adjustments in real time as it was playing, but you can do whatever you want and make the volume whatever you want, wherever. Same goes for panning. So right now, this orange line, again, this track right here is connected to this piano track. So this is the panning of my piano track. And I can, make these little envelope points or automation points or keyframes, whatever they're called. And I can choose to, look at that, see how it's 16%, 17% L, that means left, 37% left, up to 100% left, meaning when the song progresses and it gets to this point, this piano track will now be 100% in the left speaker or headphone, and then it will slowly get back to the center where it's coming out equally. And then I can drag this one down here and make it slowly go all the way to the right. Now that you know that, let's look at this original reversed piano that I had here in the song. So this right here, this track represents my actual piano track. And then I've got this volume automation, and you see that I've made it louder right here as it's the main fade in that I wanted it to just get a little bit louder. Then I've got this panning automation where it goes down the center and then it quickly bounces between the left and right speakers. So let's hear that again. That's a result of this automation that I added. Finally, just wanted to touch on this really quickly. I mentioned this earlier in the video. Automation is also very useful for effects. It's not just for volume and panning. You can have the individual parameters in your effects automate over time. So if you've got like a distortion effect and you want it to be mildly distorted for most of your song, and then you want this part where the instrument gets really distorted for a moment, you can use automation to have that individual dial on your effect crank up and get more distorted and then go back down. So that is automation in a nutshell. Let me know if you have any other questions about it. I tried to keep this video as concise and simple to understand as possible. But if you do have other questions, I'm happy to answer them. Leave me a comment below. And that's it. Bye. What's up, friends? It's C-Threep, and we're going to discuss a very boring topic today. That is EQ, or equalization. It's an effect that you probably heard of